Are you ready?
Already?
Get set.
Go.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Outer Belt. I'm Patrick, and y'all know my friends.
Chili.
Buttermilk.
Eric.
And Jerry.
And we're here to
Woohoo!
celebrate another day in the world of expediting.
Yes, sir.
And what a day it's been. It's been so
It's been crazy.
grim.
This whole week has been crazy.
Yeah, it's all week's been insane.
Oh, my gosh.
And there's no end to the insanity.
No, but it started out wonderful. The Sunday was just stunningly
Oh, my
beautiful.
goodness, it
I
was.
saw that they had a big attraction here in Ohio or in Columbus, which a lot of people have done, is the zoo. The zoo here is Jack Hanna was our zookeeper emeritus president. Yes,
Like that, yeah.
Ambassador or something?
yes.
Yeah.
So we all know Jack Hanna from, of course, the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, or as Jerry would know it, the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
Or as I would know it, the Tonight Show with I forget what that
With-
guy's name was because I'm so old now.
Steve Irwin? No, that would be Steve
before
Irwin.
Johnny Carson.
There was one before Johnny?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Yeah.
goodness.
Oh, wait, are you talking about the Jack Benny?
No, I can't think
I don't
of
know
his
if
name.
he was.
Where's our
Anyways,
fact checker? He's
Let
not
me,
over
let
there
me
in
use
the,
my
the
Google
gallery.
box and see if I can figure out who it was.
Anyway.
well, while you're looking that up, so
Talk about it.
so the over the winter they do these like winter nights at the zoo or something like
Yes.
that. It's beautiful. I've never been, but I've driven by the zoo, and it's lit up like Santa Claus world. I mean, it's
It is.
insanely gorgeous.
It is.
Sunday was so pretty. They had so many people go to the zoo that it was like a 3 or 4 hour deal to get out of the zoo
Yeah, I saw that
because
article.
traffic was so bad.
Yeah.
Sunday was beautiful.
It was
It
gorgeous.
was
I,
gorgeous.
That's what they're attributing some of the crowd to. Was just a beautiful day. It
Yeah.
wasn't cold, so
Mm-hmm.
it was nice.
And it wasn't raining.
It was a nice afternoon, evening to go out and see it.
It was
so.
great.
So the days before, I know our heater was having a hard time keeping up with the very cold temperatures
Super cold.
during the day.
Super cold.
Sunday, I opened the doors to the house and let some fresh air in. It was that nice in December. I was like, what is going on? So I could see how they had so many people go out
Yes.
because the temperatures got rainy and now they're going to dip down again. And I can just see how.
Well, Sunday night, I have a fireplace in my house, which is pretty common up here. Sunday night, I was like, I'm going to have a fire. So I threw my wood in the fire, and I got it started. And it started making this, like, woof, woof noise. And I'm like, all right, that's probably not good. Is the chimney on fire? Like, what's making that? So I opened up the door and stepped outside, and I was like, oh, it feels great out here. Like, I should be on my back porch enjoying, you know,
Yeah.
the evening air and the fresh air and everything because it felt so good. So I was excited about Monday morning, and it was just miserable. And it's been a miserable Tuesday, and it's just, but yeah. But the rest of the week's gorgeous. Can't wait. Gonna have some more beautiful temperatures. But it's been
Where are you been?
What weather reports you been looking at?
Thursday's going to be lovely sunny.
It's supposed to snow tomorrow, and
Is it?
Thursday is going to be a high of like 20.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're back in the, but then it goes back up after that.
1 second, please.
Yeah, you need to get on the right weather report, homie.
I was looking at the weather in Louisiana. I think that could be
Oh.
New
You're
Orleans.
stuck in
New Orleans
Louisiana.
says it's going
I
to be
got you.
gorgeous.
Yeah. You're
Uh,
cut off. No more lands for you.
Oh, tonight it's going to snow.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to snow on y'all's way home.
Mm.
Well, good luck. So, anyways, we
As long as I can get out of your driveway.
but it's going to be sunshiny for the next couple days. But
Just
you're
just
right.
super
cold.
cold.
Ooh, 19 degrees.
But then it goes back up again. It's like one dip.
Yeah, it's a weird little. We're on a roller coaster right
And
now.
then we get like 50s next week again. I'm like,
Yeah,
Mother Nature needs some therapy.
I'd say not prednisone. What's it? A little
She's some
amoxicillin?
Xanax.
Xanax, thank you.
Xanax, there you
She's
go.
Little
off her-
Xanax.
she's
yeah.
off her
Off
rocker.
the meds.
She's
off
definitely
something.
off her meds.
Well, that's crazy. But
Where's the weather at like where you're at? Is it up and down? Yeah.
it's the same as where you're at.
No, I'm
Are we
asking
just-
our viewers,
Oh, okay.
like where you're at. Like, have you, especially if you're a driver,
we
are you
just-
doing
I thought it was an
snow and then hot sun?
I thought it was an appropriate pause for the response, too.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
Well, I wanted to see if they responded.
Sure.
Wouldn't
I
it be
know it's-
funny if they responded to their TV and they talked to
Would be.
us?
It would be hilarious.
I think it's. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say it's weird because sometimes I hear calls that come in on maintenance from Don's side, and they're like, yeah, our AC's not working. And I'm like, AC?
I know.
And then I remember,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, we still go
Not
to
everybody's cold.
Yeah.
yeah Laredo where it's only 98 as opposed to its usual 110.
Yeah.
It's like same thing happens in summer. In summer, you'll get someone saying our SPAR's not working. It's like your SPAR's not. What do you care? We're in Alberta.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, your SPAR
could be
probably
a
needs to
problem.
work. It's always weird that first winter snow over in Wyoming, which always comes like July,
Yeah.
July.
and you're like, why is there
Yeah.
why is there a 40-car pileup in?
Yeah.
Well, we used to carry our skis in the truck with us in case we got through Wyoming in July. We'd hit the slopes,
That as which you should.
which you should.
Yes.
You should. Yeah.
Yes.
Be prepared for everything.
You also had the tracksuit
We had the tracksuit
and
as
everything.
well.
Yep.
Yep. We did.
Jared, did you keep anything like that on your truck?
All the time.
And if you just stood
I had
on
a
the side of the
snowmobile back
road,
here.
the wind would just ski you around everywhere.
It would. Yeah.
And then the wind would start in August.
Yeah.
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 Just nonstop.
Yep.
I could see Jerry like whole Blades of Glory type thing.
You out of your mind.
The ice rink is open in Dublin.
It is.
We can get you down there and you can do your thing.
I know.
Has anybody on this panel ever gone?
No.
To Dublin
No.
or ice skating?
The Dublin. Okay, well, hold on. Dublin ice skating.
No.
Have we anybody gone?
No.
Even just not even
rinks-
ice skated,
the
but
rink
walked
is-
around and looked at
So
it?
the rink is too small, in my opinion. It is a very small
Meant for
ice.
tiny kids.
It's meant for
the
it's meant
children's.
for small children.
Yeah.
And they call me Black Swan, so I would be afraid I'd take
Sure.
out a few kids, and I don't want to.
So have you ever been ice skating, period, anybody?
Yes.
Yes.
I went ice
You'd be
skating.
surprised where.
I went ice skating at the most stereotypical romantic place you could
Rockefeller
possibly
Center.
go.
Rockefeller Center.
No.
Las Vegas.
What?
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
At the baseball stadium out in Las Vegas.
Wow.
You've never gone ice skating in Las Vegas?
No.
Oh, it was awesome.
Well, you know, Vegas is really cold in the winter. Well, we were there in
Yeah.
the winter that time,
Yeah.
Well, we didn't have jackets on.
Yeah.
We were wearing shorts,
Sure.
but
as you do.
no, it was a cool trail. Our course, it actually had it like it went around like they had an island of trees and decorations and stuff. So like
Wow.
you had the regular round part, oval part, but then you also had all this little side stuff you could go do.
Sure.
It was really cool, but I mean there was half an inch of water on top of the ice. They were really struggling to keep the ice nice, and they never once ran the Zamboni while we were there,
Wow.
which is the only reason you go to an ice rink, right?
Yeah,
is to
watch
see
the
the Zamboni.
Yeah.
That's why I go
Vince,
to
you've
hockey.
ice skated before?
I have ice skated before. Yes.
Was yours in Los Angeles?
Yes.
Was it inside a mall?
No.
Oh.
It was in
Oh.
a proper ice skating facility.
Oh, did you
Yeah.
like it?
Sure.
Oh.
I never got good at it. I never got my balance. I mean, I could
Definitely
roller
not
skate
roller
like
skating.
crazy.
Yeah, me too.
But
They
ice
s-
skating just
I've always heard that ice skating was easier.
No,
than roller
it's
No,
skating.
hard.
Oh,
You have to
I
have
don't.
really
you're
good
balancing on
ankle
the
strength.
little roller skating. You got four wheels.
I don't want to brag about my ankles,
Mine aren't good.
but I did okay at ice skating. I was not Black Swan, but I did okay. I can't roller skate to save my life.
Oh, I love to roller
if
skate. I
if this
couldn't ice
was
skate.
if this was like a good 80s action movie and the final big moment was we had to strap on our roller blades or our skates and go out and do whatever,
Yeah.
I'm dead. I'm the guy that's like, go on without me. I don't have that gift at
And
all.
you know what they say? You don't have to be the fastest, just not the slowest.
right.
So,
Yeah.
I did
Well,
ice
okay,
skating.
I
see
think that's
ya.
when a bear's chasing
See
you,
ya.
right?
Well, anybody's chasing you.
S-
The cops. I mean,
I did ice skating in Sun River, Oregon, in their pavilion. If you've never been to Sun River, it's just south of Bend, Oregon, in Central Oregon, actually, on 97. And they've got like it's like a resort, but they've got a community in the middle, and there's this whole pavilion with, or shopping center. It's really fancy, cobblestone, little businesses selling everything you never thought you needed to have on vacation. But they've got the pavilion in the middle, and in the wintertime, they make it into an ice skating rink, and that's
Nice.
where we went. At the time, we lived about 20 minutes from there, so we went, and I was on my butt more than I was skating. So,
that's what happens with ice skating.
Jerry, you said no, you've
God,
never
no.
been ice skating.
No.
But you rollerblade.
I have been rollerblading and roller skating. I'm not good at either.
You'd rather DJ.
Absolutely.
I can see that.
I used to DJ.
I can hear Jerry right now.
right.
I can hear Jerry right now. This next song is couples only. Couples only for the next two songs.
I was,
And then you get out there and it's like, feel the beat of the rhythm of the night, dancing
exactly.
to the morning light.
Copyright.
Sorry.
I used to be a night manager of a bowling alley, and
I believe it.
Occasionally, the DJ that we had come in for rock and bowl on Friday and Saturday nights, he would call out or whatever, and I would have to DJ.
Yeah.
So I was never really good at it, but I
Were
would
you
just,
DJ Boogie?
No, I would just throw
That
a
would be
CD
funny.
in and
Just throw a CD in.
yeah, throw a CD in.
He'd let it play, and he'd take the ones that weren't doing anything. And be
I
like,
could
yeah.
fade the songs,
Oh, that's good.
and that's about as far as I
Nice.
got. I couldn't do anything else.
No records.
No, it was all CD.
That's okay.
Next 2 songs coming up. Sadie Hawkins, Ladies, Choose Your Guy. 2 songs for Sadie Hawkins, all skate.
You know what I always loved back when I was a kid about doing the bowling alley?
What's that?
Not the bowling alley. I'm sorry. The
ice skating rink?
skating rink.
Yeah.
Not the ice skating. This was just,
Just regular
Just
skating.
regular roller
Yeah.
skating.
South Louisiana.
Yeah.
We had one ice skating rink, Leo's. Leo's also owned Leo's Rollerland. They were side by side to each
Okay.
other. We never went to either one of those because they were in the bad part of town. But we did have a bowling alley next to us, which is now a furniture store. Anyways, not a
Checks
bowling alley, a skating rink, which
yes.
is now an American Furniture something.
Not anymore.
Well, yeah, not anymore. But that place, I loved it because at least once while I was there, they would do, you put the right foot in,
Yes.
you
Oh,
put the right
yeah.
foot out.
Yeah.
And they would allow us to run out there without skates. So I would go out there without skates, but other people would be on skates doing it, show offs.
Yeah.
And yeah.
We
it's so
do
much fun.
Skate World in Eugene when I was a little girl, 1st grade to 5th grade.
Mhm.
So we'd go to Skate World, and
Ours was skate.
parents would drop you off,
Yeah.
and you'd be there for hours just skating. It feels like one of those memes you see on Facebook nowadays, but that was definitely what we did. And
We did Skate Depot in Cerritos, California.
Skate Depot.
There was one
Love these
not
names.
far from our house. I don't know what it's called, but it's now a swap meet, basically.
Nice.
So
Big old building.
Oh, so the one next to our house was Skate City.
Skate City.
Yep, Skate City was a place to
I
be.
love it.
Oh.
I love it.
And then it was such a high end place. You walked in through. Do you remember those old metal, like bars?
Oh, yeah, the
that
spinning-
spin
the
around.
turnstile,
Yes.
yeah.
Turnstile. So you're
Yeah.
going in like in minimum security prison,
Right. Yeah.
to get in, and then you're in between them, and then you pay your money right there,
Mhm.
and then you go into the next one or whatever. Oh yeah, and then you had to exit the concession stand.
Wow.
We had a place like that too in LA, but you could only go in if you were over 18.
Ooh, skating.
Oh no, sorry, I'm thinking about something else. Never mind.
Oh man, oh, so many good memories. I tell you what, Fort Wayne, Indiana. If you ever get a chance to go out there, Fort Wayne, Indiana, still has. And I say this because we have a lot of trucks that go to Fort Wayne. You hear the maintenance phone calls. We have a Freightliner dealership we work there, the Thermo King we work with there, and our sleeper manufacturers based out of Fort Wayne. So we get there quite often,
Yeah.
and our drivers get there quite often. But they have a roller dome.
Ooh.
So it's still a rolling alley or a skate
It's still
alley.
a rolling alley.
It's still a rolling alley. It's still a skate alley, but it's crazy because it's got this big dome. But if you look at it, like there's another building that comes off the side of it. That's actually where you skate.
Okay.
The dome is like the concession stand and the seating and stuff. And I'm like, wouldn't you think the dome is like,
Right.
especially if you're going to name yourself after it,
yeah.
would be like the place you would skate?
Yeah.
But no, it's not.
There's skating here in town too in Columbus. I think it'd be fun to go do on a weekend. The problem is I might hold on to the wall so I don't injure myself
only
because
way
I'm
I could
too
do
old
it.
to injure myself.
It's the only way I
I'll
could
get
do
one
it.
of those walkers.
Right.
You know, they used to give them to the
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
people who couldn't skate.
Oh, I never
We saw
that.
We saw that. We did in London last Christmas. We saw the kids out there
With the little.
with little.
Oh yeah,
little
yeah,
push
yeah.
thing. It's- they
There
were
was
skating.
dinosaurs and stuff they were pushing, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
These little
remember doing
dinosaurs,
that,
yeah.
And the one kid ate it, and it.
And then it became
Yeah.
a projectile.
It did.
It
yeah.
took out 6 more kids.
Coming
Eric,
up
have you
next.
been ice skating?
Yeah, Las Vegas as well.
Las
You were
Vegas?
talking about kids pushing dinosaurs around. I did a trip to Gatlinburg. Actually, Ober
Over
Gatlinburg.
Gatlinburg, yep.
They had an ice skating rink up there.
Huge, hockey size.
Went there for vacation. I saw the parents pushing their kids around on little dinosaurs.
Yeah,
Aw.
It was cute.
I
Coming
think.
up next, backwards skate.
Oh
backwards
yeah.
skate.
Oh, that used to make me so mad. So my dad and sister, so Melissa, who if you work with, drive a Hyfield truck now, or if you're thinking about it, you'll meet her in the yard. Her and Dad were just disgustingly good at skating, and so they would do all that stuff like run circles and do the backward, like decide, like, let me just turn around
Or
and
the
skate.
crisscross
Let
of
me
the
just,
feet.
oh yeah, or let me just turn around and skate backwards. And how are you doing? And carry a conversation, and
yeah.
turn back around or whatever. And when they go to make the turns, they're like leaning into it and all that stuff. Me, I'm going down, grabbing the wall, just trying not to fall. Because sometimes you'd fall holding the wall. That's really embarrassing.
Right.
But there was always that one space in the very back. The very back had no handrail. So there was handrail on 3.
So then you do the little shuffle
So
all
you
the
have
way.
to just get across the back wall and then you're just doing, like, holding your hands out, hoping you have enough inertia to get you to the next wall. You just slam into it, and that's better than falling.
Yes.
You're like, I'll
Yes.
slam into it and then grab the handrail. Oh, memory. That's trauma.
I was good at skating forward. I could skate forward, no problem. Get a little speed going. I could not skate backwards.
I
to save
couldn't
my
either.
life.
Ugh.
Yeah, I just couldn't do it.
I ended up buying my own skates at some point, but again, I could never figure out how to do the backwards skate.
Did you guys ever have skates with steel wheels?
Ooh,
Never
No.
heard of them.
My first pair of skates had steel wheels.
Wow.
Yeah.
right before Johnny Carson.
Yeah. Which was Steve Allen, by the way.
Oh, Steve Allen. Oh, he was the guy that was the
and then
host of
there-
the Tonight Show before
And then it was
Carson.
Jack Parr, yeah.
Jack
Steve
Parr.
Allen, Jack Parr, Johnny Carson.
Yeah.
So just thanks for letting me squeeze that in there.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But of course, we all know the best one was
Yeah, Jay Leno.
right. I don't know. Fallon's pretty good.
I think that the redhead guy was pretty good.
Conan?
Oh, I forgot about
Conan.
Conan.
Conan?
Yeah, I think
Conan?
I
was
can't believe I
pretty
forgot
good.
about. I
Conan.
listen to Conan's podcast like
Yeah.
every single week, and I completely forgot he existed.
I'm listening to it right now in my headphones.
Okay, nice,
Yeah.
nice.
He's interviewing Johnny Carson.
I like David Letterman.
Letterman,
Letterman's good.
he's all right.
I liked his laugh.
Have you seen the my next guest needs an introduction with Letterman?
Yeah.
Yes.
I've seen a couple. I
We've
saw
seen a
We've seen
couple.
it.
Lizzo. He did Lizzo. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
And then I saw what one I just saw recently that I really liked. I can't think of it. Anyways, that's a really good show on Netflix. If you ever get a chance, you look for something to watch. You like interviews. That one's really good.
Nice.
So
So I just had a nice little story for the week, I guess, working, and it would be about the mentor program and all that it offers. And if you've done your research on our website, or you're interested, or you've met mentors, or anything about Hyfield and our mentor program, I guess the moral of my story is definitely how it can assist you when you come out here, and the importance of fellow contractors and people out here who've done this for a hot moment and who understand the industry and how to make the revenue, and they're giving of, that peer-to-peer knowledge, that it's really vital if you're going to opt into it to really use that program, because it can maximize your revenue. And I talked with some people and they're just like, aha, and it does make sense, and I'm so glad. And it was a really great conversation I had with somebody, and they're like, I don't know how anybody would come out here and not use it when they don't know in the industry. And it was a great conversation I had with this team, and yeah, so I'm just really proud of, the program that Hyfield has and that we offer, and the knowledge that's shared in the industry. And when people utilize it and they realize how important it is, it just feels like everyone's winning. And it was just a really great conversation. So just a little something that happened in my work week this week, and just wanted to share it.
that's awesome. I love the mentor program that we're doing with it, and as some of y'all who are watching know, most don't. It was a blip that happened, but there was something on social media put out about our mentor program, and
Sure.
it was not in a positive light. And by the time I saw it, it was in a private group, so if you weren't in the group, you didn't see it. Before I had a chance to respond to it, so many Hyfield teams had chimed in and said, hey, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, it helps like this, and it does that. And
Yeah.
so I did go on there and comment a little bit on it as well, but seeing everybody else come out and say
How valuable
how
it
valuable it was, and how much it helped them be the team they are now and everything, it really, it was kind of something that started out as a bad situation. It also kind of warmed my heart at the same time,
Yeah.
seeing this of
Sure.
okay, I'm
Sure.
not crazy. This really is a good thing that we're doing, and it's a really cool program. And it's been fun watching this thing mature throughout the years and see where it was, how it started.
Sure.
If y'all saw how the mentor program started 8 or 9 years ago, you would laugh because it was so fly by the seat and hope you can figure something out. Just like going from that to what it is now, it's just unbelievable. And that has nothing to do with me or Eric. That has everything to do with Dina and the mentors we brought on and getting that feedback and tweaking the program and tweaking the program
Sure.
and tweaking the program and tweaking the program and mentor retreats and being in Tennessee or being in Ohio or being in Indiana, like get all that feedback and dialing it into what it is now.
I think what's fun too is watching from our perspective where it was when we started out as contractors, and then when we became mentors, and watching the teams that came after us as mentors and how they have adjusted and molded the program and kept improving on what was the base originally, that foundation, and just kept building on that. So I think that's been a lot of fun to watch.
I love when we do a monthly meeting with our mentors over Zoom, and it is so much fun, or not so much fun, but it's so rewarding to hear a team go.
Rewarding, that's the word.
Yes, very rewarding.
Just to hear a team go, like a mentor team, one of our best people, through conversation, through another mentor talking about something, I hear another mentor team going like, oh, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, that's what's so cool about, like, what makes the system better is the mentors are like, we're helping, they're helping each other.
Sure.
It's this huge grouping, a huge community where all these things are being talked about, discussed, and it just really elevates what they're able to do with the contractors. And it just, the people that, a few weeks ago, we put a thing out, a video out where we had the whole staff here, and we're talking about the mentor retreat we were doing. And Carla, who does our settlements, and nobody really ever talks to her, like from the driver's perspective, right? She's just kind of in the background, doing her thing. But her talking about, she can see it in the settlements.
Yeah, who's using the program?
Who's using it and who's not.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's that dramatic.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool program we have. I'm really happy that we are constantly investing and developing it, and to get the positive feedback. It's just,
And I think
it
the
feels
biggest
good.
thing is other humans are wanting to see other humans be successful in their business endeavors, and that's the biggest reward out of all of it. And if you embrace coming out here, the mentor program, you're going to be successful. And it's a great feeling for everybody when everybody's winning, and who doesn't want to succeed in your own business?
Absolutely. Like, well, we talked about the getting something out of it that the mentors get.
Yeah.
Like, we do compensate the mentors. That's not a surprise or secret to anybody, because
No.
they do a lot. They spend hours on the phone, especially in the first couple of weeks of a team.
Yes.
Pretty much all of them would say, if we came to them tomorrow and said, hey, look, we can't continue the compensation part of it, they would all still want to be mentors because of that emotional feeling you get, that reward you get from it.
I used to call it filling my love tank when we mentored.
Yeah.
When somebody got it and embraced it and were succeeding and making their monetary goals or whatever their goals were.
Absolutely.
I told Vince, I'm like, it fills my love tank. And,
Yep.
but that's as a human being, it's filling my love tank. So, and our mentors, I think, get that feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. We just down at FIDA the other day, FIDA Freightliner, we get a lot of service done. We buy trucks from them. And I was there meeting with one of our owner-operators. I didn't know they were going to be there. I was there for a different reason, but I did run into them while they were there. And we chatted for a while. And, here's a team that came to us. They were laid off their job that they had for 30-something years. Their company put them through truck driving school. Well, any school they wanted. They chose truck driving school. And then they came out and...
I would have went to med school.
Well, they chose differently. So they came out, ran with us for a little while. Well, not for a little while, for a while. They were really good. They became mentors of ours. They wanted to take it a step further, so we sold them their first truck, and they've been in our owner-operator program now for a few years, and we were discussing they are going to run one more year, and then they're going to call it quits. They're going to finally retire. But they were talking about how they've been able to pay their house off. They've been able to pay their vehicles off. They bought their
Wow.
last vehicle cash money. They like all the, now he said he wants to squeeze a boat in. That's what they're going to run another year for. So he can buy the nicest bass boat he wants, pay cash for it, walk out with a nest egg in their retirement fund and all this stuff. And that's awesome to hear. Like
goals.
that was a bad situation. I mean, like, you know, there are lots of people, my dad is one of them, have this experience of working in corporate America for 20, 30 years, and then they get laid off because it's not about loyalty anymore in that world. It's about
Pleasing the stockholders.
Pleasing the stockholders, exactly. So now people are trying to find ways to advocate for themselves and work for themselves. And, you know, the great thing about trucking is you can be your own boss. You can be a company driver if you want.
Right.
Or you can go out and be your own boss, and it's really taking control of your future, and it's really cool to see these stories of people doing that and being successful. And you know, it sucks to see them go. Like we talked about 6 months ago, we not lost a team, but we had a team retire that had been with us for 10 years, 10 or 11 years, and they met all their goals, and now they're retired, and they've got money in the bank, and they're financially secure for the rest of their life. Like, that's amazing to be able to come and help people walk through that. And it's happening right now. We've got lots of teams that are doing the same thing. It's a really cool industry we're in. And it's a really cool niche we have of being able to give people that ability to basically be an owner-operator without the risk of being an owner-operator.
Sure.
Right.
You know, it's a really cool, happy medium we're in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my sales pitch.
Well, you know, the Facebook post you're talking about, most of those people that I saw were at least here a year, which I think is great. The team I spoke to was on their third load.
Nice.
And
nice.
Right? And so very different whatevers. But it just was really cool to hear and to see, because I did see that post as well, but just that people are really appreciate that mentor program.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's all. That's my story for the week.
So I'm trying to remember where we left off the other day. By the other day, I mean like
3 months ago.
3 months ago when we were discussing the trucks and Hyfield's history a little bit, our lineage,
Yeah.
and et al. And but I had an interesting conversation come up today, and I was like, let me talk about this. I think it'd be fun and kind of an interesting. It stopped me if we've already talked about it.
Sure.
Or let me go on. So
The listeners love anything about Hyfield and history.
There's no stopping him. We all know that.
it was proposed to me.
Ooh, did you say yes?
No.
Okay.
That I was actually a hard no. And I think Jerry's about to understand why. It was proposed to me, what if we, to save money on these trucks, specifically refrigerated straight trucks, what if we made him a factory sleeper, a high roof factory sleeper, and then put a notched reefer box on the truck and ran like that?
I have to picture what this looks like. Wow.
I don't know that I've ever seen one like
Okay.
this. So
What's the benefit? Is that what you're getting to?
the money,
I don't wanna-
expensive
less expensive.
Oh,
than
I'm
a,
like,
than a
Yeah.
than a custom sleeper, a factory
Oh,
sleeper.
got it. Okay.
So people don't realize like what these trucks cost and what the sleeper is and
Sure.
stuff. So when you buy a truck from like Freightliner and it has a factory sleeper on it, a day cab to a factory sleeper might be like an additional $5 to $10,000 depending on how it's equipped. A custom sleeper, like our typical 8-foot custom sleeper we buy from Bolt, is somewhere around $80,000.
Wow.
So it's quite a bit more expensive. It's not a little bit more expensive. It's quite a bit. The bathroom ones are sitting around $120,000 more. So those sleepers are a huge chunk of the money
Sure.
involved with that truck.
Sure.
So if you can get rid of that expense
Mm-hmm.
and only have a $10,000 for the nicest factory sleeper you can get, it's a pretty good deal. So I said no for a couple of reasons. One is market's too competitive. You'll never get a team to drive it. Like if you bought that truck and then you bump Doc and you're next to Jerry, and Jerry's in a nice truck,
Right.
running for the
What-
same
Yeah.
carrier, making the same money, how long are you going to stay in that factory sleeper truck?
Sure. And we've had those conversations when we were on the road. When we bump a dock and there's a team in a factory sleeper,
Which is
They-
way
they-
more
they-
common on the dry
way
side.
more common. And they look at our truck and go, "How do I get into one of those?"
Yeah, that happened a
A
lot.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well-
And most of those people still drive for us.
Yeah, they do.
But so I said, let me help you out this from a different perspective. And what it made me want to talk about is we're going to talk strictly about refrigerated trucks.
Mhm.
So if you are a dry van or you want to go drive for Panther, this might be boring. But if you are a FedEx and wanted a reefer truck, I think it'll be. I'd like to take you through a little bit of like how we got to the build we are at now on the refrigerator unit and box spec. When we first, when this whole like expediting refrigerated situation got started, so back in the day, in the early 2000s, late 90s, expediting when they started building these trucks, what they were doing was a lot of like day cab kind of Penske Rider-esque type trucks, and they would just go run from automotive to automotive places and haul a pallet of pistons or a ton of tires or a wagon of wheels, things like that.
Sure.
The DOT started coming down and saying like, hey, you're doing all this over the road stuff, you need to have sleepers on your trucks.
Right.
So there was a couple ways I went about it, in different dealerships that did them different ways. A lot of them went and took their existing international rider truck or whatever they had,
Mhm.
and they would stretch the frame a little bit and slide in a little like 24, 36-inch coffin sleeper.
I've seen those.
And that's how they would work it. But then when the DOT said, that's cool, but the amount of hours you're running needs to be team, like you can't do that as a solo person. So then the sleepers got bigger. So ICT, Alumabunk, or as we affectionately know them, Alumajunk.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another company out there, I can't think of who it was. They started, and Bents, they started making sleepers that were bigger, very basic on the inside, but bigger sleepers. You put them on these Class 6 and Class 7 trucks. Now these trucks were running team operation, and it was pretty decent for what they were doing. And the trucks would last 300,000-400,000 miles. But back then, you were putting 50,000 miles a year on your truck.
Wow.
It was very little, and they were getting really top dollar. Well, as anything happens, more and more people realized that, got involved, and those rates got pushed down, and people had to start running their trucks more and more to be able to make money. So a lot of people stepped up to the Class 7 trucks with the fancy sleeper, only they went with a nicer spec. You might have seen a lot of like the Kenworth K300s were big back in the day, and they'd have a nice ICT or a nice bent sleeper on them. Again, dry vans, all this is dry van stuff. The problem with those trucks, they just wouldn't last very long. And if you baby that truck, I mean, there were tons that got 1 million miles out of them. But when you talk to the people, they're like, yeah, 1 million miles this thing, man. I'm only on my third engine. And it's a second transmission.
Yeah.
And, they kind of had that attitude of like, we can just keep rebuilding it because the platform, the frames, the cab were solid. So that part could handle 1 million miles, but the engine and all that stuff couldn't. Well, engines start getting more and more expensive. The emissions control stuff,
Right.
Drastically and changed the pricing of all that stuff. So there was a real step up to Class 8 trucks, which is your typical semi-truck tractor you see going down the road. What happened then is now these trucks have sleepers built onto them, right? You can buy a semi-truck with a factory sleeper. And so there was a bunch of people, Expediter Services, one of them, would buy like a Kenworth or a Freightliner, when FedEx, and put their box on it with a factory sleeper. Well, when FedEx said, hey, we're going to start this new division of FedEx Custom Critical called White Glove Services that deals with temp control, T-valve temp control stuff. So we want y'all to take boxes off your truck and put reefers on them. So when it first started happening, they literally did that. They would literally take a truck that was already built, take the box off it, slap a new box on it that was insulated, and they would mount the reefer in one of two spots. So option one was they would notch the box. And by notching the box, what they do is they took 3 foot down by 3 foot deep, might have been 4 foot deep, out of the box, and they would literally just rebuild the box. So
Yeah.
here's a picture of it right here. So you see where they took that gap out, and the reefer sits right there. And that is how the reefer would work. Now, these suck. Duh. They would constantly leak. Jerry, did you ever have a box like this?
I did not.
I had a couple. They constantly leaked. They were terrible for airflow because in a reefer truck, what makes it work is the fact that cold air is blowing across the top of the box.
Right.
It goes down to the doors and it comes back to the front, and you have a constant turn of airflow. Well, if you have a notch in the front,
It's gonna break
there's
up
no
the
air
airflow.
going in there,
Right.
right? Like so.
Ah.
So it was terrible for airflow. It had a hard time keeping the trucks cool properly. That notch leaked badly. Every year you had to go in and get it resealed. And so they were just a nightmare. Well, option 2, which a lot of people did, was keep the box intact and then mount the reefer unit under the sleeper.
Oh.
Now, Jerry, you had one like this.
I had 2.
You had 2 like this. What kind were they?
The first one was a Western Star. Don't quote me on the model. I'm not good at that. And the second one was a Peterbilt.
And for the fine people out there, describe what it's like trying to sleep on top of a reefer unit that's going.
If you have an APU, that's nothing. Compared to a big old reefer rumble motor, you cannot. Yeah, it's a whole new ball game. And then also to what you said a minute ago, airflow. It sucked at airflow. It would get
They would
hot,
overheat. Oh, yeah.
We would constantly have to stop going through the desert, and we would stop off at a truck stop or something and grab the water hose and spray it down. And
Wow.
that would keep it from overheating and shutting off.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to keep the box cold
Yes.
Yes.
with
yeah.
your merchandise in there.
Well,
Yes.
and if you think about like if you know high performance cars or something, cold air intakes where they pull the air from up high, where it's cooler than right at the road where that black asphalt is just absorbing the heat. It's super hot right there, super cool up in the air. That's why if you look at a commercial truck, semi truck, their air inlets for their engine are up high on the hood. They're pulling that cold air in because that hot air just does nothing. It's not meant for that. I had a friend of mine, she had one of those on her trucks mounted underneath the sleeper, and it had a constant Freon leak. And so every 6 months or so, she'd go back into Thermo King, and they would just top her off with a little more Freon, and she'd be good to go for another 6 months, and then come back. And I bet you California would love to hear that right now.
Yeah,
or the
right.
EPA. It was a different time back then, one might say.
Of course.
And so then we got these big, nicer custom sleepers, and so you still had the same thing. People were either putting them underneath the big sleeper or they were notching the boxes. And this went on for several years. There's if you look at really old used Expeditors, which aren't even easy to find anymore because they're also old now, there's a huge, maybe 10, 15 years where they built them like this. And then Bent's came out with a sleeper that was like a low roof model.
Mm-hmm.
And the reefer could actually sit above it. So you didn't have to notch the box, and you still had a nice sleeper with the reefer unit, having space for the reefer unit. And these were wildly popular. They were built on Freightliner Columbias.
Correct.
Did you have one?
That's what I had.
Okay.
That was my first custom sleeper.
And they were nice. I don't know if they were as...
it was nice.
Yeah.
It was nice. We're talking surround sound built into the side of the
Wow.
wall, surround sound all throughout the ceiling.
Oh.
So when you watch TV or movies or anything like that, it was all piped through the ceiling. It was really, really full fridge and all that like we have now. But
Did it have the skinny steering wheel?
no.
Okay, some of the older Columbias, especially the cheaper ones, the steering wheel was really, really skinny, like an old 1970s car has that really skinny steering wheel. So I didn't know if it had that one or not. But yeah, so that was the creme de crop. So people were like, now they built that as a way to make the reefer unit work better, keep the box cooler. But because they had the bigger sleeper, because of that, they made them nicer, and then people got kind of accustomed to, hey, I kind of like a nicer sleeper. So, AA never really who was the other competing sleeper company, never did that. They always said, when we looked at, there was enough room, so we're not going to do it. So Bent's took it a step further when the Cascadia came out. When the Cascadia came out, Team Run Smart was a huge deal with Freightliner, and they actually worked with Freightliner, with Stoops Freightliner, so with Freightliner Corporation, with Stoops Freightliner, the dealership, Jeff Jones in New Haven, Indiana, and Bent's got together and said, we want to build a new sleeper, and instead of just modifying what we had before, we want to make it EPA, run smart, like all that stuff, compliant. And so Freightliner said, all right, we like what you're doing. Like we're into how can we make these things more fuel efficient? How can we sell them? And so they worked together and designed a roof mold that's really nice. It emulates the existing Cascadia roof mold. And when they did that, they actually decided, since we're doing all this, what if instead of like notching the box, because the new roof mold's tall to get airflow over the box, what if we notched the sleeper? So what if we took that roof and we cut it out and put that way the roof would allow space for the reefer unit, but it would still be tall and still allow for airflow and everything. Check that picture right there. So that's kind of an example of what we're talking about. And so Bent's went on to do this. You could only buy it exclusively from Stoops Freightliner, and it was a really cool product. Well, Bent's went out of business. One of their suppliers bought them out, changed the name to Bolt, and they kept making this product, still make it to this day. AA sleepers down in Texas looked at it and went, we could do that too. And so they went and they actually did it as well. Now, they did theirs a little differently. Theirs was more of a industrial solution. It was not as pretty. It was not as pretty at all. They literally just cut like straight down and straight out and threw some fiberglass in there and called it good. So it was a little more less pretty, but it still accomplished the same thing. And
It
with
got
that,
the job done.
and with that, no one ever notched a box again. No one ever put a reefer under sleeper. Like that was it. That was done.
Wow.
And because they have all the space, because we had to have a custom sleeper to be able to do all that, the whole industry's gone custom sleeper, and no one would even consider anything else.
Makes sense.
I mean, again, I want to reiterate, when I got started in this business, those 2008, 2007 Kenworths that were all over the road from Expediter Services were all factory sleepers. Nobody really gave even a mind to like, what do you mean a custom sleeper? We're not going to have that, right? Unless in the custom sleepers you saw on those Class 7 trucks, they were not nice. They're not, like, they look cool on the outside, but if you went in the inside of them, you're like, oh, this is kind of like bare bones. I mean, like oak cabinetry they bought from Home Depot. You know what I mean? Just real basic, real bare bones.
Yeah.
That's kind of how we got to where we're at. So nowadays, it is standard. We're not notching the box. The reefer is going to mount above the sleeper in a notch that's already been made there. There's been two other companies, ARI and Premier Custom, has modified that or gone to that model as well. And it's new standard. So when it was proposed to me, factory sleepers with a notch box, all I could think was, we're not going back to that.
You're not going back to the dinosaur ages.
No, been there, done that. It's a nightmare. Nobody wants to go get their box resealed every year. Nobody wants to deal with
cooling your engine.
Yeah, or cooling the engine, or having to deal with the fact that water is pooling up in the front of your box because it's the leak or anything. So anyways, I heard that. I thought it'd be fun to share a little bit of how we got where we're at, and just this idea, and it made me chuckle.
I like it.
So
you're like, that's a hard pass.
It's a hard pass. They said they might order a couple and see how they work, and I'm like, I don't think you should. I think they're gonna sit there. So
wow.
I'm curious out there, if you've been driving with FedEx or Panther for years and years and years, what are your interesting trucks that you had? Like right now, the M2, the Cascadia, the Western Stars are all pretty, and the Volvos are all pretty standard across the industry. But did you ever have anything that was like unique? Did you ever have one of those old Kenworth T300s or any of the Expediter Services trucks, those old Kenworths? Do you remember those? Did you ever drive one? Did you have any experience in that I'm curious. Drop us a line. Let us know.
You
Have
can
you
email
ever?
us pictures too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Email us pictures of those trucks. That'd be cool to see.
Have
Where-
you
Where
ever?
would you email them to?
The Outer Belt Podcast at gmail.com.
What is that again?
The Outer Belt Podcast at gmail.com.
In a masculine voice?
The Outer Belt Podcast at gmail.com.
In a real masculine voice?
The Outer Belt Podcast at gmail.com.
This show is over. I'm shutting it down.
No! I just thought I was being a ventriloquist and I was getting all those
Oh.
notes.
I was just joking. I'm sorry, babe. So, but I am curious. Have you ever been in Jerry's situation? Have you ever had to get out of the car or out of the truck and spray the reefer down to keep it from overheating? If you've had experiences like we've had, or if you have anything fun, let us know. We'd love to hear your story. We'd love to share it with you.
Yeah.
That's storytelling. That's
Yeah,
what
that's
we
what it's
live
all
for. Jerry, anything else we're forgetting?
Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't. It really does help us out with the algorithm. And if you're interested in learning more about Hyfield Trucking and what we do over here, or interested in talking to someone and joining Hyfield Trucking, check us out at hyfieldtrucking.com or give us a call at 833-HYFIELD. That's 833-493-4353.
We can talk about the mentor program
Or
anything else.
Our unique trucks.
Our unique trucks that have reefers not underneath them.
Not anymore.
I'll be happy to talk to you. Or Delina.
Or Delina. Or Jerry if you use our chat function.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
In the meantime, y'all stay safe. Make good decisions. We'll catch you next week.
Don't leave money on the table.
And keep those wheels a turning.
Good night.